This fish alone can give you 4 to 5 good reasons why you should keep your behind off the seafloor. By the way, this is a stargazer fish, and we got to talk about it. These fish bury themselves kind of like this and then wait for prey to pass by and then ambush attack. As you can see right here, they have very sharp teeth and it takes them less than 1/10 of a second to attack. But I promise that's not even the worst of it, because these fish are venomous and electric. They have 2 venomous back spines and can also produce a 50-volt electric shock. And if that's not enough, they can produce a pulse that's right under the human hearing barrier, but still strong enough to stun their prey. So as you've probably guessed by now, these fish go straight on my nothing to play with list. If you ever needed proof that aliens live in the deep sea, look no further than here. Yeah, this is the Bigfin squid, aka the magna penis squid, and we gotta talk about it. When I say these are deep sea creatures, I mean these are deep sea creatures. They can live 15,000 feet below the surface. They can grow to over 25 feet long, and that's just a guess, because we barely know anything about these squids. They've only been sighted 20 times. Each one that was caught was suspected to be a juvenile, which means we really don't know how large they grow. They like to hold their arms at a 90-degree angle and let their tentacles just hang down. Their 20-foot long tentacles have these suckers on them that are very sticky, which they use to capture prey. So if they got you, they got you. So here's just more proof that aliens really do live in the deep sea. This deep sea alien looking shark has been roaming around our oceans for an estimated 80 million years. That is a frilled shark. They go straight on my deep sea alien list, and yes, we gotta talk about it. These sharks can live anywhere from 100 to 500 meters below the surface. Instead of having big sharp teeth, the frilled shark has tiny little needle-like teeth that are perfect for holding onto their prey. They're fairly slow-moving creatures, but almost everything is when you're that deep in the ocean. This shark can also open his mouth and eat prey about half its length. And they can grow to over 2 meters long, which means they can eat prey that are pretty darn big. Just a little nightmare fuel for your morning, and another reason why I truly believe that aliens live in the deep sea. Love Tribe, I see you out there, and as always guys, peace and love, baby.
What animal is this?
What we're looking at here today is just more proof of why I think aliens live in the deep sea and not in space. This is a barreleye fish, and that is his face. These freaky looking alien fish can live anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 feet below the surface. Living at these depths means that there's really no light. So these fish have adapted and evolved to look like this. The 2 dots above its mouth are not actually eyes. They're more like nostrils. Question is, where are its eyeballs? And the eyeballs are actually right here. Those 2 little green things. That's right, their eyeballs are inside of their transparent dome. Their big old tube-shaped eyes are always, for the most part, pointing up, for pretty much one simple reason. They live so deep in the ocean that most of their prey is above them. So, for the most part, they only need to look up. And another question would be, why are their eyes inside of their head? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I do not know the answer to this question, but I will be back once I do get it. But here's just more proof that aliens live in the deep sea. And as always guys, peace and love, baby. Yeah, that's a real lizard breathing air underwater. They're named Anolis aquaticus, or the scuba diving lizard, and they're native to Costa Rica, mostly just in the mountains. These lizards use a bubble attached to their nose as a natural oxygen tank, and they can stay underwater for over 15 minutes. They have hydrophobic skin that allows a thin layer of air to form around their bodies when they dive underwater. To be fair, it sounds pretty cool, but they only really use it when they dive in the water to run away from predators. And as always, man, peace and love, baby. let me introduce you to one of the most invasive sea creatures in North America, the parasitic sea lamprey. So what they do is latch onto its victim with their sharp teeth and then puncture a hole through its flesh with their bony and sharp tongue. And it slowly sucks the blood out of its prey. They can literally have over a pint of blood a day. You would think from their shape and freaky looking mouths that they would be related to either eels or leeches, but they're actually just fish. They're originally from the UK, where they're considered like a delicacy out there. But you will not see this on the menu for me. And as always, guys, peace and love, baby. We gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it. So this is a ghost shark, and we didn't know about him until 2002. Literally 20 years ago. It's crazy. We spend all this time trying to get to and study these planets that we can't even breathe on, when we should just be studying the deep ocean, which we also can't breathe. Okay, that's besides the point. Ghost sharks, ironically, aren't sharks or ghosts. Though they are very close related to sharks and stingrays, they're not actually sharks. They're native to the Southeast Pacific, which makes perfect sense. They're from Australia, which is basically the Florida of the animal kingdom. Luckily for us, they look much more threatening than they actually are. They don't even have sharp teeth like sharks. They technically have teeth plate, and they usually live thousands of feet deep into the ocean. So I think we're pretty good. And as always, man, peace and love, baby. So what we're looking at here is a Phronima. Phronima, I just learned about him a couple days ago, but here's what I've learned. These little guys are ruthless underwater. Like I said, this is a Phronima. Kind of. This is what they actually look like. What we seen in the first video was them living inside of one of their victims. Yeah. They'll eat animals like plankton and jellyfish and then use their corpse as a home. It's kind of like hermit crabs with a little Freddy Krueger on the side. They make these barrel-shaped homes out of their prey mostly to lay eggs in them. Other than their malevolent eating practices, they're actually very good parents. Well, at least the mothers. They'll raise those little children in that barrel until it's time for them to go. But that's all I got on them today, and as always, man, peace and love, baby. I found my water bottle, and we gotta talk about it. Yeah. This is a bristle worm. Now, there's about 8,000 to 10,000 different species of bristle worms, so I can't tell you exactly which one this is. But what I can tell you is they come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes. Some look like this, while others look like this, and a few look like that. Most grow to lengths of 4 to 5 inches, but some, like this bristle worm, can reach 9 feet long. This one is a fireworm, which holds a neurotoxin that can be very uncomfortable for humans. Moral of the story, no matter what kind of bristleworm it is, just leave it alone. As always, guys, peace and love, baby. I'm sure by now you've seen the viral videos of these 3-legged fish roaming around the ocean floor. This is a tripod fish, and we got to talk about it. They can be found on the deeper ends of the Indian, Pacific, and Atlantic Oceans. These fish can be found anywhere from 3,000 to 15,000 feet below the surface. It's pretty dark down there, so they really don't need eyes. They do have them, but they don't really need them. But we're not here to talk about their eyes. We're here to talk about these tripods. With help from the 3 elongated projections from their modified fins, they easily earned their name, the tripod fish, for obvious reasons. Some fish can prop themselves up 3 feet above the seafloor, which gives them the opportunity to hunt basically without moving. They face opposite of whichever way the ocean is moving, feed on plankton, small shrimp, or basically any small creatures passing through. This fish doesn't need to move to eat, doesn't need to see to live, and they also can reproduce by themselves. They're like the most lazy but self-sufficient creatures in the water. And as always, guys, peace and love, baby.
What animal is this?
This is a feather star, and we gotta talk about it. Feather stars belong to the crinoid class, which pretty much just include them, sea lilies, and a few others, but that's a story for another day. Most crinoids have a built-in stalk that's attached to them for life. Luckily, sea stars don't have this issue, which allows them to move freely. Their bodies consist of a central disc and 5 symmetrical arms attached to it. As you can see, those arms branch out into more arms, and they can regenerate, allowing some starfish to grow over 200 arms. There's many different species of feather stars which can be found all over the world, but mostly populated in the Atlantic Ocean. Feather stars can be found attached to surfaces like rocks, seagrass, coral, and even driftwood. I know what you're gonna ask next. Are they dangerous and/or are they poisonous? The answer is no, not at all. Though some species may strategically look poisonous, I promise you, they're not. But what I will tell you is they swim fairly well and they crawl to either get away from predators or get to prey. And this just further proves my point that aliens live deep down in the ocean, not in space. And as always, guys, peace and love, baby. So what we're looking at here is a horseshoe crab. And I'm back. I know you missed me. Funny thing is, horseshoe crabs aren't actually crabs. They're more closely related to spiders and scorpions. I know this is probably just random, but their blood is blue. And I mean like blue. Now their blood is special, not just because it's blue, but because it helps humans detect bacteria like E. coli. I know I'm just throwing random stuff out here today, but listen, they chew with their legs. They don't really have teeth or a functioning jaw, so it's easier for them to, chew with their feet. Another weird random fact is they have 10 eyes all around their shell. Their average lifespan is about 20 years, but did you know they've been around for over 200 million years? Just think about this. Your favorite dinosaur didn't make it, but this walking shell did it with ease. Sometimes you just gotta work smarter, not harder. And as always, man, peace and love, baby. Yeah, this fish really walks on the seafloor. This is a gurnard, and I want to be honest with you, it's taken my all not to say gurnard. Now their legs are more of modified spines on their pectoral fins. Some look like this, and others look like this. This one in specific is a flying gurnard. Some blend in with the seafloor, some don't. Honestly, there's like 100 different species, so you get kind of anything and everything with them. Though their name does have flying in it, they can't actually fly. They just spread their fins and glide through the water. And one more thing, they have spines around their dorsal fins that release a poison. Now it's said to be mildly harmful, so it won't end your life, but it might be annoying for like a day or two. But that's all we got on the gurnard today, and as always, guys, peace and love, baby. This extremely rare giant phantom jellyfish was found 3,200 feet off the California coast. This is an extremely rare sighting, being that we've only recorded them 9 times ever. This giant jellyfish can grow to 33 feet long and seems to act as a safe haven for smaller deep sea creatures. It's believed that these sea creatures can live up to 21,000 feet below the surface level. So in other words, we probably won't see them again for a while. They also don't sting, but their tentacles are 30 feet long, so they have no problem finding food. But this just makes me wonder, like, what else haven't we seen that's down there? As always, guys, peace and love, baby.
What the heck is this? What? Never seen anything like that.
That is a blue button jellyfish, and we gotta talk about it. Though the blue button jellyfish is not poisonous, you probably still should not be touching it. They don't have a lethal sting or anything, but they can cause skin irritation. And who knows what your little fingers are doing to them. Ironically enough, a blue button jellyfish is not a jellyfish at all. They are in the same Hydrozoa family, but they are not classified as jellyfish. They typically grow to around 1 to 2 inches in diameter, but in some cases they can grow to around 4 inches. I think one of the most interesting things about the blue button jellyfish is how they reproduce. They do it all by themselves, a la carte. Create these little polyps on their bodies, which eventually break off and then grow into their own blue bottle jellyfish. And as always, guys, peace and love, baby. We got to talk about it. This is a batfish. They usually look a little bit more like this. Batfish are a unique type of bottom-dwelling anglerfish. Instead of swimming, batfish use their leg-like fins to maneuver around the bottom of the ocean. They like to stay in coral reefs, rocky outcrops, and for some reason, like muddy bottoms. Here's a new species we found just months ago. Also, the red lip thing, you guessed it, it's for mating. We found that most fish with the red lips are mature, active males. But that's all we got today, and as always, man, peace and love, baby. Yup, that right there is the second largest fish in the world, the basking shark. These sharks can grow to be 26 feet long and weigh 11,000 pounds. They get their name, the basking shark, mostly from the way they hunt. Just like most large fish, they don't use their teeth while feeding. They open their mouths 3 feet wide and catch whatever plankton filter through. They can be found migrating to just about every ocean in the world. Despite that they look like this, they're no threat to humans. They're only interested in plankton. But I'm not taking any chances. And as always, guys, peace and love. That is literally one of the last things you'd want to touch in the ocean. What we're looking at here is a blue-ringed octopus, which just so happens to be one of the most venomous marine animals in the world. This tiny little hand-sized octopus contains a very potent neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin. Tiny little octopus holds enough venom to take out 20 adults in minutes. One of the biggest issues with their venomous bite is the actual bite, because you probably won't even feel it. But once it kicks in, it can cause muscle numbness, nausea, loss of sight, and loss of motor skill. And then after all that, you can also pass away. So just remember, rule number 1, don't touch bright colored animals. And as always, guys, peace and love, baby. See, I know you think the Vaquita is a very cute animal, but there's only 10 left. And I mean like 10 total everywhere. This little guy is the world's smallest porpoise. Vaquitas grow to about 5 feet long and 120 pounds. They exist in one place and one place only, the Gulf of California. These little sea mammals get confused for dolphins all the time, but they're a little chunkier and they don't have snouts. Part of why there's only 10 left is, yeah, you guessed it, humans. Turns out that some people think that their bladders hold some kind of magical health benefit. And I've heard you can sell them for around $10,000. So we definitely played a part in lowering their numbers. Now, hopefully, somehow we can help raise them too. And as always, guys, peace and love, baby.
Oh, stranger.
That is a Portuguese man-o-war, and we gotta talk about it. Yeah. The Portuguese man-o-war is a species of siphonophore, which to us just means it's not a jellyfish. It's actually not one thing. What I mean by that is the Portuguese man-o-war is a bunch of single-cell organisms that colonize together to make a big floaty mess that basically just drift on the ocean surface. Unlike jellyfish, the Portuguese man-o-war is incapable of moving in one single direction. So instead, it just floats around and lets the ocean take it wherever it may. Now, for what they have below the surface, you should probably watch out for. They have tentacles that may not be necessarily dangerous to humans, but definitely discomforting. These tentacles can grow anywhere from 30 feet long to over 150 feet long. They use these tentacles to sting and paralyze their prey before eating them. They enjoy eating fish and other smaller sea creatures. Though these tentacles do deliver a venomous sting, they're not deadly to humans. But you will probably experience pain, burning, and these red welts that come and go for like 5 weeks straight. So do with that information what you may, and as always, guys, peace and love, baby. Yep, this is a flying fish. Well, kind of. Their name is definitely flying fish, but they don't actually fly, but we'll get to that later. They look more like this underwater. These little fish can grow to a maximum size of 18 inches and about 2 pounds. I know they're called the flying fish, but they don't actually fly, they glide. These fish pick up speed, propel themselves out of the water, and then flick their tails. They can flick their tails 70 times per second. And after that, they glide. They float through the air. They can do it for up to 650 feet. It's thought that they glide through the air like this to protect themselves from predators. But then again, it makes them an easy target for birds. So as cool as it may look, these fish don't really get a break. And as always, guys, peace and love, baby. When I say this video flooded my mentions, we have to talk about it. So what we have here is the Spanish dancer. No, not Spanish dance like flamenco. I mean like an animal. I guess a flamingo. Okay, just listen. It's a type of nudibranch or sea slug, whichever one you choose to call it. They're found in the Indo-Pacific, which of course means they're partially found in Australia. And like I've said before, don't touch bright colored animals, especially if you don't know what it is. These sea slugs in specific hold toxins that they receive from the sponges that they eat, which makes them highly toxic, like too toxic for their predators to eat. So if you just so happen to see a loaf of silly putty just gracefully floating around the ocean, leave it alone. And as always, man, peace and love, baby.